On this episode of Main Street Magic, we review our recent stays at Caribbean Beach Resort and Saratoga Springs. This is episode 67 of the Main Street Magic podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and I've got my friend and co-host with me, Mr. John Marone.
This isn't a formal attire today?
No, John has showed up in almost a full suit, no blazer. He left that in the car.
I did. Black on this summer day, or spring day, was a good pick.
Yeah, I hope you didn't sit outside for lunch.
I did not sit outside for lunch. No.
That's good. Yeah, I'll have to go see if I have a tie. I'll put it on. I'll put it on for the next recording. But one thing we want you to go check out, of course, is check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com. You can like us on Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter at mainstmagic. Also, make sure you check out the Capture the Magic podcast, and they are at ctmpodcast.com. Now, they release new shows every Monday and Thursday, and then Jared and I release a new Diz Dudes episode every Wednesday, and then John and I are releasing new shows every Tuesday, sometimes more, depending on what we've done recently at the parks. And that's what we want to talk about some today. We're going to split this up into a 4-part series pretty much, as we were both in Disney this past weekend. Rhonda and I on our anniversary trip. You were there with the family. So we're going to split it up, and today's episode is going to revolve around the resorts. We had the opportunity to stay at Caribbean Beach Resort. You were at Saratoga Springs. And so want to give a little more insight on those. I know we've mentioned them in the past, a little bit more on a broad scale trip review, but now we can dig down a little bit more into those individual resorts. As you guys used DVC for this trip? Okay.
Yep, DVC, and we did a deluxe studio was our room.
Okay.
But I'm saying you were there Thursday to Monday.
Yep.
We were there Thursday to Sunday. I never saw you.
I know. It was weird this time.
Yeah.
Well, Rhonda and I did more stuff than we've ever done, ever. It was both nice and exhausting.
We were never in the same park at the same time,
which is crazy.
We didn't stay at the same resort. We didn't have dinner reservations or anything together. And then you saw Michelle.
Yeah, for the run.
For the 5K, where I was up when she left, but then I was back asleep in the room with the kids until she got back. So I was resting.
Yeah,
so I look forward to hearing the episode that you and Rhonda do about all the add-ons and the extras, which include the 5K and some of the other things that you guys did, because that'll be a good episode. But a lot of people do those races, but being up at 3:15 and on the bus at 3:45 and still not running that race till hours later.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I'm still catching up. I mean, to be honest, and I know Rhonda is, because she's been working since we got back yesterday. She immediately went and worked a 10-hour day, and she's got about the same today. So it is tough. But so a studio room at Saratoga, what does the layout look like on that?
So let's talk Saratoga. So Saratoga, we were in the carousel section. So for DVC for Saratoga, there's the Springs, the Paddock, the carousel, there is Congress Park, and the grandstand. So each of those are buildings. Most of the buildings are all 3-story buildings, and the rooms are either studios, 1 or 2 bedroom rooms. You then also have the Treehouse Villas, which are the 3 bedrooms, which is side. So that's the resort in a nutshell. For a studio, you have I'm trying to think. I think it would be more along the line, maybe it's a king-size bed. I'm trying to remember, but it's probably more towards the queen on that, and then a pull-out sofa.
Okay.
So sleeps 4.
Yeah.
You're not getting 5 in there. There's some extra rooms, so you do have, like most rooms, right? You have your microwave, your mini fridge. The room is definitely, to me, for Saratoga, definitely in need of updates. Mm-hmm. Right? It's, if you remember where Disney used to give everybody in their rooms like the little 19-inch TVs and they were in the cabinet.
Yeah.
Well, here they've at least upgraded to the flat screen TVs, but they're still in the cabinet. So it's not the 55-inch Samsungs that are hanging on the wall.
Yep.
So you still have that old piece of furniture in there. You have a table with 2 chairs. We were on the first floor, so we had a little patio that had 2 chairs on it as well. But nothing special, and even the colors and the decor of the room, the bathroom and that, you could just tell it's an older resort. It's in need of just being updated.
Yeah.
That's it. No different than Vero Beach has gone through the update, Key West, all that.
Yeah. I was going to say, is it comparable to the rooms at Old Key West that have not been updated?
Yes.
Where, again, they were still nicely themed 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a color palette that doesn't really exist anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
what you're looking at. So, they were working on painting the hallways and the outside of the building when we were there. So hopefully that it'll be in there. It's not our home resort, so it's just something that we booked. Usually for DVC, if you need something, and again, just go in DVC. You can book your home resort 11 months in advance.
Yeah.
If you want to stay anywhere that's not your home resort, you can book 7 months in advance. Well, if you're going to some properties, it's difficult to get Bay Lake Tower or Boardwalk or any of those at 7 months. Saratoga usually is always available because it's the biggest DVC resort by number of rooms. And if not, then Old Key West is usually available.
Right. Yep.
So like Poly is the smallest and all that. So you sometimes end up staying there. Oftentimes though, I'd rather, Animal Kingdom seems to have some decent availability out, within that 7-month window as opposed to the other ones. But it's a resort that for DVC a lot of members like because its point totals per night are not very high. Mm-hmm. So you also have availability because of the number of rooms, and your annual dues are some of the lowest.
Oh, okay.
So it's an easy one for somebody to buy into, whether they're going through Disney or whether they're buying in the secondary market. It's an easier place to buy into as far as both your upfront and your annual dues. I think the thing that you give up, I think the pool area, which we'll talk about in a minute, is a good resort, and you have great amenities. The place solely lacks in dining.
Yeah.
Right? There's a counter service place, there's the pool bar, and then there is a sit-down restaurant, but it's not anything that anybody ever talks about.
Is that the Turf Club?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've only recently heard it. Like literally, I think I was listening to something else a day or two ago, and they mentioned it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would have never known the name of it.
Yeah. Nobody really knows about it. So for a resort that size, your dining options are very limited. I think it's probably the worst resort for dining.
Yeah.
Now, your benefit is you can either have a walkway, depending where your room is, or you have the boats that you can go to Disney Springs, and you have all those restaurants.
Right.
But on property, it's a little bit weaker there.
Yeah.
So that's us, and we'll get more into it about what we did there. But you guys stayed at Caribbean, so
so we had stayed there back in December, but we stayed in the pirate rooms, which you can go back and listen to our December trip review. This time we had originally booked a preferred room, which would come with 2 queen beds. All the other rooms, except for the pirate rooms, that were refurbished, I think, in 2015. So we decided last minute to tack on Sunday night, and the only thing available was a king room, which was kind of better anyway, but we didn't want to end up switching. So when we got there, even though we had done online check-in for the original reservation, we went up front and just said, hey, we have a second reservation for Sunday night. If possible, we don't want to move. Either keep us in the preferred room or bump us every night to the king room. Like, what do you need to do? So they said they could bump us to the king room in Jamaica for like an extra $30 a night. So like, that's perfect. We'd rather just have a king. It's only the 2 of us anyway. So Jamaica's a great proximity to the main pool area. You're a quick walk right across the bridge. Now, like with Old Key West, with Saratoga Springs, this is a huge, huge resort. You have inter-resort transportation. You have half a dozen bus stops. Not everything is within walking distance. Like last time we stayed where the pirate rooms are in Trinidad, north and south area, they're not really within walking distance to the pool. You're going to either, if you have a car, drive up there or take the bus transportation. But we were pretty much able to walk over to the pool and where the construction and all is going on. The refurb they did in 2015 still is carpet, but everything else is nicely redone. They went with the USB ports with all the outlets. TV was probably closer to a 50-inch. I think at that time, not the 55 they're doing now, but it is one of the Samsung smart TVs. So it kind of has its own guide built in where you can actually see what the channel is and what's playing, as opposed to waiting on their ancient channel guide that scrolls through,
Lucky I remember that Channel 30 is the Mickey
classic cartoons. Yep.
For the kids.
And we and we didn't have the kids. We pretty much had that on if the TV was on. But they also at this time were not going the route of all of the extra storage. So you still have a closed off bed underneath, unlike the new refurbs at Pop and Coronado where you can slide stuff under. They did not add all the additional cabinetry in the bathroom. So couple drawers. It's got the new mini fridge, which to me is even smaller than the old mini fridges. And you still do get a table and 2 chairs. Now, I don't know if it was just the fact that it was a king room or the fact that we had a corner unit, but this room seemed gigantic. I mean, it was really, really spacious. As far as furniture layout and floor plan, not counting decor or anything else, this is probably my second favorite next to the one we stayed at Old Key West, which just had a ton of room, which was nice to have. Now we are at a moderate level, so you don't get a balcony or anything. And these are set up as what you'd consider a motel setup where you enter from the outside. You have 2 levels on most all buildings. And like a lot of these resorts that are moderate, there's no elevator or anything. So you are hauling suitcases up and down, getting there and getting out. But that's okay. And just like we experienced at Coronado, you really don't know construction's happening until you see it with your own eyes. The Riviera Resort is going at the front of the entrance, so it's really not going to bother you at all. Now, where we're at Jamaica, they are building another bus entrance. And then, of course, their old Port Royale Centertown is still in shambles. They're still building everything. The pool is how it's always sat, but then you have a giant tent where you have a buffet breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you have a food truck situation and a small quick service. And then they actually have a truck set up for merchandise. And there's not much of it. But again, it didn't bother us once. They just recently opened Spyglass Grill, which we found. I thought it was going to be one of the new ones opened in Centertown. It is not. It's in Trinidad Pool area. So it's really off the beaten path. So we went to eat there one day, first day we got there, thinking we could eat at the pool. And then they told us where it was, and we're like, all right, well, we're heading to Disney Springs anyway, so we'll eat over there. But we didn't spend a lot of time down there. But it was one we found that leaving to go to a park, we were better off taking the bus near our spot in Jamaica because it was the second to last stop. Coming back, we just got off at the main stop at Old Port Royale because it was the first stop, and then we just had a quick walk across the bridge instead of sitting around for another 4 or 5 stops.
I think that resort scares me with what transportation is going to be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because Riviera is the new DVC building. It's a 15-story building.
Yeah.
You already have those stops, and you cannot walk to any park.
Mm-mm.
So you either have bus or it's going to have the new Skyway.
Yeah.
Right? The gondolas. The problem is, how many gondolas are there? How many gondolas are going to be on the track? Plus you have at Coronado onto it, which is another big resort.
Yep.
I just look at these gondolas and it's like, how are they going to, unless it truly comes through and they start charging people right? $20 a person to do the gondola, or no different than they raised the minivan to 25, right? Do they put a price on it, one, and if they do they put a price on it enough that they can wipe out enough people so that it doesn't become a huge log jam? Right? The buses are already, and I always, again, some people like it, and I know when we had Len on, he said, hey, it's amazing for transportation because one comes every 16 minutes on average.
Right.
But to me, it's still a disaster, right? We're moving thousands of people with a couple buses, so now we're going to add more people to the resort, and you're still just going to have buses, and then you're going to have a gondola that could hold, I don't know, 8 people, 10
I can't
people.
Imagine it's more than 8
right?
to 10 people in a single system.
And it's just, to me, it's going to be a weird setup that what happens. And I think, again, during the day, maybe not. So park opens, maybe the gondolas are packed.
Yeah.
Park close, where everybody has to leave at the same time.
Right.
How are these going to handle it? And how are they going to handle it with they're stopping at Hollywood Studios when Star Wars opens?
Oh, jeez.
Right? And people who are staying there in Coronado. And it's just, it seems better on the surface, but when you dig deeper, I don't know. I think there'll be plenty of complaints on it for the 90 to 95% of people who can't get on it in a timely manner.
Because it's going to become its own ride. I mean, flat out will be a ride. It'll be an attraction. And it's going to see wait times, much like we see with new attractions.
Huge wait times. Yeah. So at Epcot, and I know we're getting off resorts here, but at Epcot, I saw that they've now installed, right behind France, they've installed some of the gondola towers.
Yep.
Right? So that's going to come in right behind France. You're going to go over the waterway, and the gondola is right outside the International Gateway.
Yeah. Which has, 4 turnstiles maybe? 6
yes.
At most?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how...
It has to feed all of those boardwalk hotels already for people that are walking.
So the park closes, everybody's leaving. You have people leaving to walk to Beach Club, Yacht Club, Swan, Dolphin, Boardwalk. You have the Friendship boats, which are slow as molasses and can't really handle a ton. And then you're going to have people walking to go get on the gondola to go. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's going to be nuts.
Now, I didn't notice anything addition within the construction when we were at Coronado to handle transportation as far as bus. I think the day after we left Caribbean, they were opening 3 new stops all next to each other by the old Port Royale Centertown. There was already another one there, so whether they're bulldozing the old one and just have the new 3 ones, or they're keeping all 4, I don't know if they're going to split those up as this is your Magic Kingdom station, this is your Hollywood Studios station. I'm not sure what they're going to do there. And we see, eventually rumored, is that they are adding bus transportation times to the My Disney Experience app. I don't know how that will play out, because we've walked down and you look at their little sign and it says, 20 minutes till your Magic Kingdom bus. Well, if I'm in my room and it says 20 minutes, do I now just stand in my room for 18 minutes and run down there along with everyone else? So I think they're trying to start to think ahead, but I don't know that they've thought ahead enough.
Yeah, and talking about that with the bus and the wait time, sure. I mean, again, you see it. I guess it might be neat if I'm in the Magic Kingdom and I want to see how long before my bus is there.
Yeah.
From the resort,
it's not a big difference.
I don't know how much, but
no.
So on the day of the 5K, we hung out at the pool, and then Michelle went to take a nap before dinner, and I took the twins to the Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. So we walked, and as we were walking, the Magic Kingdom bus was leaving. So it had a time of 2:41.
Yeah.
So we just missed it. If I would have known the route, I could have probably ran to another one of the stops and caught it.
Right.
Because there's 5 of them inside of Saratoga. But the next bus came almost exactly 16 minutes later.
Yeah.
Now, we made 3 more stops. So we were the second stop in Saratoga. We made 3 more before we went to Magic Kingdom. The good news, there was a total of 7 people on the bus going to Magic Kingdom. So most people were leaving and getting off.
Yep.
for that, but that's still, it's a long wait. And that's where you look at it. Okay, they added to the fleet of minivans and raised it to 25, right? You just think if you're Uber, Lyft, any of that, they're talking about even the self-driving cars. I think Disney, obviously, especially for the 50th, Star Wars, everything, is probably starting to panic about transportation.
Yeah.
Because even right now, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? It's tough. And that, other than the Magic Kingdom, I'm happy that I have my own car.
Yeah.
I will drive to Epcot. I will drive to Hollywood. I will drive to Animal Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I will not rely on their transportation other than, if I need the tram to get me to the front of the park after I park my car.
Right.
Magic Kingdom is the only one that kills that.
Yeah. Yep. Completely.
Yeah.
Well,
and so this time, actually, what we did, and we'll get into it, but the twins and I took the bus. We had dinner that night at California Grill, so Michelle drove the car, parked there, and then when we were done with dinner, we left.
That's perfect.
So if there's any tip, always try and book dinner at the Wave, California Grill, Chef Mickey's.
Definitely.
Or something, and then you get your parking right there.
Oh, yeah.
And you can leave and you're not relying on anything.
Yeah. Well, and what they're going to have to do with the minivans and what we experienced, when we did the luau, we could have driven to Poly, and we would have had valet with our tables in Wonderland, and we wouldn't have to pay for it. But we knew we'd be drinking there, so we were not going to drive there and drive back. So I thought, you know what, this would be a good time to do a minivan. Even though they've upped the price, let's just do it. They've expanded minivan service to everywhere but the values. Here's the problem. I stood there, no minivans in sight of Caribbean Beach Resort. I tried tapping it 3 or 4 times. It timed out. I picked up an Uber. It was there within 3 minutes and cost me $11.
Yep.
Coming back, I'm thinking, all right, we're at the Poly. This is a big-time resort. This is on the monorail loop. Minivan will be easy. Not a minivan in sight. So again, I Ubered back $11. So it's another one they have to expand that service to, they'd have to expand it to hundreds of cars as far as I'm concerned, if they find that people will pay for it. But how are you going to find if people are going to pay for it if people can't get a car to pay for it? Because I would have paid for it. But their research isn't going to help if I can't get a minivan.
No. And to me, it's 4 wheels taking me under 10 miles somewhere. I'll pay $11 instead of 25.
Of course.
And
ours was going to be a little more experience-based just to do it, but I
you
agree.
do it
Uber's
once
so
and you're
much
kind of, you're kind of there. It's a unique dilemma that they're going to experience and have. And, you just think guest satisfaction will take a hit.
Yeah. You can't get to where you want to go.
Transportation.
Yeah. And then I'll let you get back to what you guys did at the resort. The other thing, now Hollywood Studios is under major construction with their entrance, their exit, everything. But coming out of there, we took a bus back after the dessert party. And again, we knew we were having drinks at the dessert party, so we didn't bother driving to Hollywood Studios so we could be responsible. There's no dedicated bus lane to get you out of Hollywood Studios. So we sat in the exact same traffic with every other person that drove who went there and stayed for the fireworks. Fireworks in, park closes, every single person has to exit. It took us 15 minutes just to get out of the parking lot on a Disney transportation bus. So that's going to be an issue if they don't quickly, especially with Toy Story Land. They've got to get these turnstiles and security, entrances fixed and done. They've got to get some of these highways they're building done, the overpasses, or we're just going to see bottleneck after bottleneck. And one of the things I really like about Caribbean Beach and Coronado are their proximity to Disney Springs, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios. You're right in that bubble. You're close to all of them. You're not even that far from Magic Kingdom. Of course, everything's far from Animal Kingdom, but I like their proximity. But it still is going to take you forever if you have to rely on certain transportation. So
my last transportation thing, and we'll get back to resorts. So when we went there, we went straight to, when we got there on Thursday, we went straight to Wide World of Sports, so Michelle could pick up her stuff for the Star Wars Dark Side race.
Yeah.
When we got off of I-4 and we pulled in on the road, and so we're now on the Disney road, we were 1.6 miles away from Wide World of Sports. It took us a half hour to get into the parking lot.
Jeez.
because with the construction going on of the roads, we're at a 4-way intersection, but the intersection is separated. So it's not exactly, because there's something going through the middle. So it's like going north and west is on the right, going south and east is on the left.
Yeah.
No two lanes could go at the same time.
Right.
So you couldn't have north and south going at the same time and passing each other because of the turns and that. So it was north goes, then east goes, then south goes, then west goes, and then you make it back. And the lights aren't long.
Right.
So you just sat there, and then there were, it was 4 lanes, but then everybody's trying to cut over, realizing only 1 lane turns, including buses.
Right.
So it's like, well, wait a minute. I've been sitting here for 20 minutes, and now a bus is trying to cut in front of us. It definitely gets the blood pressure up. So yeah, that construction, and there was no way. I mean, I'm looking at ways, and I'm like, there was no way of any of the other 3 roads than the one I was on that I could have got on and made a U-turn or turned around and got in there quicker.
Right.
It was realistically the same way for everybody.
Yeah. And one thing to be wary of, if you use Waze or if you use maps or anything, we've noticed routes are changing every day during this construction, so you can't always rely on Waze. When we were leaving Fort Wilderness in January, I needed gas. I could not get to the gas station because of the route changes. I could see the gas station, but all the roads were closed that normally got me there, and Waze had no clue. So I just drove in circles for about 10 minutes, and then I was like, forget it, I'm getting out of here. I'll pull off somewhere else. So yeah, just be careful using those because stuff is changing so often. So, so back to the resort.
Back to the resort. So here's what I'll say about the resort. We did online check-in, and we weren't going to get there to our room until at least 7 at night. So probably about... Gosh, I could tell you the time because I still have the email. We got the text saying that the room was ready, which was good, and I didn't even pay attention to it. So 3:30.
Okay.
So 3:30, so a half hour before regular time, we got the text that the room was ready.
Yeah.
Great. So when we finished at Wide World of Sports, we went straight to the room. And Wide World of Sports, you guys talk about it, the shopping, everything for the 5K. We ate there at the grill.
Okay.
And, the grill is just, it's, at Wide World of Sports, the restaurant there used to be the All-Star Cafe ages ago. The one that, Steffi Graf, Tiger, Shaq, and all that had a piece of back
when,
in the day.
Planet Hollywood became big, and they started. There was a NASCAR cafe. There was the All-Star Cafe.
So this was an All-Star Cafe.
I think Shaq had part in it too.
Yeah, they ultimately changed it over to an ESPN club, and now that's gone, and it's just the grill.
Okay.
And there's 2 sides. The bar was closed, and I think the restaurant was closed. The counter service was open. Here's the thing that was interesting with the counter service for us. We ordered our food. You get a buzzer. They bring it to your table. We got fountain drinks, and they have the Coca-Cola machines where you mix and match whatever type of drink that you want. We got our drink, and literally 15 minutes later, there's 4 of these drink machines. 3 of them were closed. Right? Now 3 people show up to clean this last one to close it. So when we went to go get a refill, we're like, we paid for a drink. We get unlimited refills. We're not, this is closed. We're cleaning it. It's done.
Oh, gosh.
It's like, but we paid for a drink to get it. So we went to the counter, and the woman's like, we're like, well, you sold us the drink. We'd like to be able to fill it.
Right, right. Yeah.
So she had to go to her manager and everything and then give us a bottle of the drink, because it's like, if you're selling food, why would you be closing all the drinks down?
Right.
It didn't make sense.
That does not add up.
Yeah, so we got to the resort, we checked in, and there was nothing for us to do at the resort that day. So we unpacked. Michelle wanted to sleep because she had to be up at 3:15 to get for the race, and that's all that we did. So we, that next day, She came back from the race, and we decided to go spend the day at the pool. I didn't know whether she'd be tired, what she wanted to do, but just relax. So
Yeah.
we had Fast Pass at the Magic Kingdom, but our first one was like at 3:30. So we got dressed, went to the pool, and last time we were there, we didn't go to the pool. There was a pool near us by the grandstand, which looked neat, and it had its own little counter service food as well as everything else. But this time we went to the main pool where we were the closest to. It's a great pool. It's big. It has a nice water slide for the kids. It has a little fountain play area. Mm-hmm. It has a hot tub. It has the restaurant. That's where, because it's DVC, they're doing the games. You also, within the pool area, have the ping pong tables. There's a basketball court nearby. Your clubhouse is there to be able to go in and do any of the activities with DVC with the clubhouse. So a lot to do right there. And the other thing that I liked about the pool is a lot of chairs and a lot of umbrellas.
Oh, nice.
So typically, to me, right, a lot of chairs, not a lot of umbrellas.
Yep.
This was a lot of umbrellas, plus there's trees and everything. So you can find a spot that's shaded if you want shade and be in it, for as long as you need to be. It doesn't really matter where the sun is. So the pool got crowded during the day, but it was great. To me, it was a nice pool to be able to swim at. And while you're in the middle of everything, the way it's built up, like if I wanted to go to the main building where the shop is, the restaurant, the check-in and all that, you have to go up 2 flights of stairs to get up there. So it's almost like the pool is sunken down to that to the area. Yeah. So it kind of has a buffer and some buildings around it. So it's not as noisy. It's not bothering everything. But it's so we like the pool area. We did eat there where you order. The food actually comes from inside. Mm-hmm. They don't make it out there, so they give you a flag to clip to your chair. And then, so the flag has a number on it, and then they just come out and say, okay, you're number 50, here's your food, and they take the flag and they go away.
That's nice.
So that was nice. Michelle did that. She ate. I went up there to order for myself and the twins, and they wanted the Uncrustable, right? The peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The guys at the bar said, oh, they don't deliver them anymore to us. They took it off the computer here within the last week, and we don't know why. And I said, well, do they have them inside? Yeah, you have to go up there and get it. So I can't order. Nope, we can't even ring it in. So I'm like, great. So I now, instead of having my chair right next to the counter and getting my flag and doing it, I had to go all the way upstairs into the building and order 2 Uncrustables, and then I got a buffalo chicken panini.
Yeah.
So Michelle had an Italian flatbread that comes with chips that was huge. Enough for 2, except she ran the race, so she ate it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The buffalo chicken flatbread was, the panini was fine. It was, a whole sandwich, regular type of bread, but decent. They take Tables in Wonderland inside. They don't at the bar.
Oh, okay.
So at least it saved me a couple bucks by walking up there and getting it.
Definitely.
So that was it. So, I got that. I did go to the check-in counter twice. The first time is I went to pay for something and my Magic Band didn't work. Mm-hmm. And so I went and he helped me, and somehow my Magic Band was assigned to Gianna, to my little daughter. I'm like, and she has no charging privileges.
Right.
I figured I'm not going to give the 7-year-old a credit card.
Good idea.
So she doesn't have charging, but I have no idea how that happened because, I've been on my account forever.
Right.
And he said, yeah, I don't know. He said, occasionally we see it. So he fixed it. Had to check me out, check me back in or whatever, but didn't mess anything up. But it then worked. And then I went to him because the kids on the pull-out couch, they needed an extra blanket and some towels. So I asked if he could help me with that. He said, yeah. So he got that stuff ordered. So that was the only time I interacted with anybody at the desk or that, because online check-in and the online, check-out.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I'm seeing this as a regular thing at Disney right now, is 9 o'clock, a knock on our door, the day we're checking out for housekeeping, to see if we're there or if they could clean the room.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether the sign's on your door or not. Now, this is not we're coming and checking your room.
Right.
This is, we want you out so we could clean the room.
Right, and turn it over.
Right. Check in 4 p.m., check out 11?
Yep, 11.
Okay. Almost every visit recently,
Interesting.
9 o'clock, we're getting knocks on the door. So, another thing to me that Disney needs to be aware of, because I think, we were up, but just kind of moseying around. We're in no hurry.
Yeah.
We had some later fast passes at Epcot, and just the weather we were seeing what that was going to do and just getting ready. It's like, they got to figure out a way, because again, I don't need knocks on the door at 8:30 or 9 when check-in is at 4.
Right.
And checkout's at 11.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, so that's the only thing, and that seems to be happening more and more, and that also is not just Disney.
Yeah.
Right. I'm seeing that from Hilton and Marriott as well as I'm staying. We're going to disturb you early in the morning to hopefully get you going.
Yeah.
And then we'll clean the room and get on with our day.
Yeah. It'd be nice. I know I've been at hotels before where they have a TV channel that you can check out on. But it'd almost be nice. I mean, and again, they're not going to put this cost. If there was something you could do where on that last day you do one last scan of your Magic Band that says you check out. Or,
I got here's the easiest thing, right? Because I get this for dining reservations, all kinds of stuff. You send me a text. 1, yes to confirm. 2, no to cancel. It's just, hey, when you check out, would you be kind enough to text us 1?
That's great. That's
right?
perfect.
I mean, that's it. Because, I get my bill via email.
Right.
I don't have to see anybody, but you sent me a text when my room was ready.
Right. Do the same for when I'm ready to leave.
Send it for when I'm ready to leave.
That would be perfect.
And maybe everybody doesn't do it, but for enough people who do, at least you know when they're out of the room.
Yeah.
And that's for anybody, I think. And I do see that with Marriott's and some Hiltons where I'll get that, where they'll be like, text when you leave.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they have it. So overall for the resort, I mean, that was the pool area is great. The room needs updating. It's a huge resort. Your proximity is to Disney Springs. Otherwise, you're a good distance anywhere. I did use Waze when we left Animal Kingdom because I wanted to see something.
Yeah. So
from Animal Kingdom to the resort was 6.9 miles. So it's a little bit of a, that would probably be the 2 furthest points away.
Right. Yep.
But when you look at it, that's where it is on proximity. But points are cheap. It's usually available, and so it's a place to sleep. But if you are going to swim, it's a great place to swim. If you're going there to dine, go to Disney Springs. You're not going to dine there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes sense. And it's funny because it's not, all of the new stuff that's been at Disney Springs, it's not as though that resort was built dependent on all of this dining at Disney Springs. Now, I know they had it when there was Pleasure Island and Downtown Disney, but still, nothing near what it is now. So it's interesting that they didn't load it. Because when you look at you look at somewhere like Animal Kingdom, has some of the best food out of any resort, and there's plenty of it.
Yeah.
Even Coronado Springs had like 5 different places to eat. So it's really interesting that they're such a limited... But, Old Key West is pretty similar. You have your quick service up front, you have Olivia's, and then you have the gurgling suitcase for the bar. That's the only food at Old Key West, right?
Yes.
So it's the DVC built resorts.
The old ones, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you of course, you guys, because you had a studio, didn't have full kitchen.
Right.
Again, I can understand when some of these that have mostly built off having full kitchens, they expect people are going to eat in their room, but still... When you have that many studios, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. One more thing about the pool. So they have a person there who's doing hair wraps. Right? Where they're going to... So when we were on the Disney cruise, which we talked about in a previous episode, we were there for spring break. Gianna got her hair braided, and it was $1.50 a braid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, this isn't the same price.
No. So Gianna wanted to get her hair wrapped. Michelle said, yeah, that's fine. Go pick out your colors, do whatever.
Yep.
They measured her hair, and we're sitting there watching because that's where we were. We were close. We weren't up there with her. We didn't check the price or that.
Yeah.
So Gianna picks her colors, and now you get the person prints off the receipt, and you now take it to the building or whatever, the DVC community hall. You pay for it, and then bring it back. How much was Gianna's hair wrap?
$2 per inch.
Oh, I think it was less than that per inch, but I don't know
if
it's
charging you per inch.
They're charging you per inch of hair, and they're charging you, I think, per color.
Okay.
And maybe, and I don't know, because she picked 4 colors or whatever.
Yep.
So Michelle got the bill, looked at it, came back, sat down, and said, "I gotta go pay this." And she's like, I'm like, what? She said, $41.
Oh, my God.
And I said, well, you can tell her she ain't bleep, bleep, bleep doing that. There's no way I'm spending $41 to put string in a kid's hair.
Wow.
And this wasn't the girl was just standing there. There was a constant stream of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Michelle's like, I can't tell her no. We already told her yes. And she's like, I'll just pay it. And so I'm like, fine, whatever. Chalk it up that this will be the last hair wrap this kid ever gets.
Yep.
$41. I'm like, they're out of their mind.
And we did it. This was several years ago when we stayed at Caribbean Beach. We did it for Lacey. And that's why I do remember specifically them charging per inch of hair. And it was pricey. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, I need a different measurement.
Yep.
Are you measuring?
Just go cut all our hair off first.
Yeah. Are you measuring it in metrics?
Right.
Or are we doing what is here? Is it $1.25 a millimeter?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Instead of an inch, $41. And now it does come with a little charm at the end.
Yeah.
And the girl said something that it would last for 4 weeks or something like that.
All right, so now you're at $10 a week. This sounds better.
Sounds better. And that's pretty much it. It's like, you're keeping that thing in.
Yeah, exactly. Don't even wash your hair for a month if that's what it takes. But,
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I'll just touch on a few points as Caribbean Beach compares before we wrap up. Caribbean Beach Pool, I think, is one of our favorites. You have a really nice play area for kids. Decent sized pool. It's not huge. Great water slide. And then there's a secondary water slide just for kids. That part's great. They do have a beach area there. They had cornhole set out for people to play whenever they wanted. Now, even the bar there is currently being served out of a truck. But when this is done, from the photos and the artist rendition that we saw inside of the temporary buffet food area, I mean, this is going to be incredible. This is going to be amazing. We didn't have to go to the lobby because you cannot walk there. You have to drive. It's a completely separate building. It appears the new Centertown will include a lobby. I would think that the new Riviera will include its own lobby, and then they bulldoze the original one now, maybe. But I much like Coronado and everything they're doing there, Caribbean Beach, I think this is going to easily become one of our favorite resorts at a moderate level. Now, what are these rooms going to do when all this is done? I don't know. What is Coronado going to do? Because that's not a DVC. I don't see them charging the same to be in a Coronado Tower as they are in the old building, even though they're nicely refurbed. I think you're going to see, for the first time with both of these resorts, I think we're looking at moderate plus. I think there's almost something in between moderate and deluxe as far as pricing goes. So it'll be interesting, but I think this will become one of our favorites. It's really, really quiet, as I'm sure you probably, we found that with Old Key West, and you find that with these large resorts. They are very, very quiet when you're at your room. But they're huge, so that is always a factor. This place is going to be, I think, incredible, and they've already done a great job. There's times where you walk through and you do feel like you're in the Caribbean, short of when you look through two buildings and you see a parking lot instead of a crystal clear ocean. That's really the only difference to me. Other than that, it has that feeling. I mean, the vegetation, the colors, the way the buildings are done, it truly has this amazing immersive feeling, which we really, really enjoyed. So, we'll talk. Ron and I are going to talk next about some of our add-on experiences that we did, including the run, including the Star Wars dessert party and the luau. You and I will do an episode strictly on food, which I know you did. What, California Grill, Tiffin's, or were your two big ones? Art Smith's Homecoming. That's right.
We had amazing food this trip.
It looked like it. No, we did. Short of the food that we had at like the luau and all, we enjoyed Nomad Lounge, which we always like, and they had some add-ons. We did Jock Lindsay's, which has a new menu with a lot of new items, and then we sat at the bar at Yak and Yeti, which was our first time eating at the sit-down portion. So we'll get into that, and then we'll do another fourth part on what we experienced in the parks this trip. So we'll get these knocked out, and so make sure you keep checking back over the next 2 weeks as we release these episodes. As always, if you can go out on iTunes and leave us a rating and review, it really just helps the show grow, and hopefully we can get in front of more people. That's all I got. We'll see you real soon.